Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, the wonderful Misty Morrison, and this is episode 6 of Petty Please. Let's get right on into the pettiness. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Small revenge on the road. My first time posting here, it's a short story of road rage. A long time ago, when I was commuting for work, I got in the habit of tailing people. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until I was on a road at night, tailing the heck out of this car, and they turned their window fluid wipers on, and my car was sprinkled as a result. Annoyed, I backed off. This not only made me realize I was being a turd, but it was a pretty hilarious way to tell me. Fast forward to last year, I'm getting tailed in a slow lane on a busy major freeway, and I turn on my wipers with the window cleaner and smile to myself about how annoying that is. When this car zooms around me and cuts right in front of me to do the same thing back. I crack up laughing because I do love the petty energy. Guy clearly sees me laughing at him and immediately zooms off, illegally fast, cutting across 3 lanes of traffic in his tantrum. Probably shouldn't have done it. Road rage these days can be dangerous, but I wasn't prepared for the grown adults to pitch such a fit over it. That's a good one. I mean, you didn't do... for all anybody else knows, you didn't even do it intentionally. You're just like, oh, my window's dirty, let's clean it. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Can't park in front of your own house? Whoops, no more secondary income. TLDR, neighbor starts parking in front of our house, refuses to park elsewhere. Ends up that she's running an illegal short-term rental that gets shut down by the zoning commissioner after being taken to court. I live in a small neighborhood with maybe 20 total homes. Each home has about 50 plus feet of road frontage, 3 plus car garages, and large driveways, and parking is permitted on both sides of the street. As such, there's never a reason to park in front of a home that isn't yours, that you're not visiting unless there's some sort of event. Most of the neighbors are friendly and know each other, so in the time I've lived here, parking has never been an issue. Until last month. Last month, a neighbor from the far other end of the development started parking daily and overnight in the smack dab middle of our property's road frontage. Odd, but maybe she's having work done on her driveway and wants to park away from the fumes? I don't know. Things happen, not a big deal. But after 5 nights of this, I'm getting a little fed up. The yard guys can't cut the grass where her car is located. Deliveries of large items are postponed because they can't get up our driveway without the extra turning radius. So I leave a note, I know, on her windshield. It's a quick note explaining that it'd normally be a non-issue, but we have some deliveries coming and it'd help for us if she could move her car back to her home this week. Edit for clarity. The note did not ask her to move permanently, but asked if she could move temporarily for 3 days, I think we asked. So we could mow without getting grass on her car and so that the delivery drivers could get in the driveway. We had a few large deliveries that required big trucks with large turn radiuses. No response, but the note is gone the next morning. The car is still there, and our other neighbor texts us. Hey OP, you may want to watch out for mean neighbor. She started cussing me out for the note left on her windshield and said it was public property so she could park there as much as she wants. Not cool, but since I don't want to pick a fight, what is there to be done? The next time she moves her car, I'll pull my own in front of my house. This does not make her happy, and she spends the next few days flipping off my Ring doorbell camera from the street and leaving notes on my car that are never threatening but never kind, like F you and libtard. Game on. Edit. I did not get revenge for her parking in an obviously public place, as explained, but for her flipping me off, cursing me out, and leaving cruel notes on our car when we parked in front of our own home. It didn't take much digging to realize there was regularly unusual out-of-state cars parked at her actual home, and even less digging to find her home listed on Airbnb for way more per night than her entire mortgage. A few quick calls to the county, and wouldn't you know it, Airbnb and short-term rentals are completely forbidden, no exceptions, in our neighborhood. On top of that, the county zoning commissioner finds out she's been renting out her home for almost half a decade, and each rental violation equates to a $250 fine. You can do the math. I'm not sure what happened after, but we do know she received a court order of some sort, and more importantly, that she stopped parking in front of our house. Guess she had to find a job that didn't include flipping people off all day. I love that one, because you were perfectly nice about it. Can notes be passive aggressive? Yes. Can they be effective? Also yes. Certainly there's times when you're not gonna be passing each other at the same time of day, so you would have to leave a note to get a hold of them. But you were nice. You didn't even say, hey, stop parking here. You just said, hey, I have some things going on. I need the space for 3 days. I don't care if you come back and park. I just need you to be gone for 3 days. Nothing was rude or mean or off about what you said. You were more than nice. And the way she responded, insane. She was violating rules. She got what she had coming to her. All right, story number 3 is coming to us from r/petty revenge, rude neighbor. I live in the upper unit of a duplex that's stacked on top of each other. We moved in not too long ago, and the neighbor has been incredibly rude to my boyfriend and me. A brief summary of her is that she expects we completely alter our lifestyle and layout of our apartment to better suit her unrealistic needs. We cannot walk above her late, shower, use the bathroom, wash the dishes, talk to each other, etc., all because it disturbs her. She has told us multiple times that doing the laundry at the various times we are, 6 to 8 p.m., aka when we get home from work, is unreasonable and inconsiderate. She will take out her anger on us and just yell at us or start slamming all her doors below us. One of the things she asked of me stuck with me. When you are using the kitchen faucet, please turn it off slowly, because when you do it too fast, it makes a pop sound in my sink that scares me. I suddenly love washing dishes. I will slam it off as much as I can randomly throughout the day, and then sit in silence to hear her groan. It's the most lukewarm revenge, but it makes me smile. That's funny. Yeah. She literally told you what to do to annoy her, and she is clearly a crazy person. You have as long as they're not being outrageous, blasting music or doing construction work at 3 a.m., you have no control about what other people in your unit, in your building, whatever, do around you in their own home. And people are so entitled. Okay. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/entitled people. Block my driveway? I live on a fairly large 4,800-acre ranch in Montana. I'm not a rancher and I don't pretend to be, but I inherited the ranch and leased most of the land out to people who know what they're doing. Now, when I took possession of the property, I had the boundaries reviewed and marked by a surveyor, and with my trusty ATV, I verified that the fence was intact all around my property and was marked no trespassing according to the law. Met my neighbors, tried to live quietly in the beauty I had. One day, coming back from town, I found 3 cars blocking my driveway. My driveway is a private, graded gravel road, about 1.25 miles long from my fenced marked gate on the public access road. Nobody around, and because of the way the road was built with drainage ditches on either side, no way to drive around them, and no way to drive past them. But I was about 3/4 mile from my house. I climbed up on my truck to see if I could see anyone around. No joy. Now I considered just chaining onto the vehicles and towing them with my truck, at least until I can get by, but I figured I better get some witnesses. So I called into the sheriff's office. Fortunately, the deputy on duty on my side of the county was fairly close by, so he swung by in a half hour or so. "Hey doc," he said, "I'm an emergency physician in the local hospital and know most of the emergency responders." "Bob, how's Charlie, his teenage daughter who I had seen a few months earlier in the emergency department, doing?" "She's back to normal. Thanks," he said. "What's up?" I pointed to the vehicles. "I came back from town and found these cars parked here. I don't know who they are, can't get past them, and can't see anyone around here. I'd like to get past them to get to my house." "Well, I can ticket them and order them towed, but the nearest tow truck is probably 2 hours away. Why not just tow them yourself?" "That's what I was thinking of doing, but I wanted a witness." "Okay, doc, let me give you a hand." So we took some pictures of all of it and towed the cars out of the way, which caused some damage to the road surface. Gravel, right? The damage is what really annoyed me. I had just paid the bill to have the road graded and more gravel added, something that has to be done every year or so on such roads. But I was able to get by, which was the important thing. The next morning, the cars were still there. And the next morning. So the cars had been there 3 days now. They were still there. I'd had enough. I drove out to the cars with some wooden cribbing and a high-lift jack, and jacked the cars up, put cribbing down, and left the cars there, wheels up in the air. It took 2 more days before anyone showed up. 8 people showed up angry because their cars had been essentially booted. They really didn't like it when I told them they owed me for parking and damage done to the road because they blocked it. "You know this is a private road, right?" I asked. "We didn't know. You had to pass a closed gate with signs to get onto this road. Then you blocked the road because you were too stupid to park like an adult? Blocked emergency access to my home? I should have had your cars towed, which the sheriff told me I could do." They started threatening me, saying they'd call the police. Go for it. Turns out they were backpacking and their phones had all died, so they wanted me to call the police. Fair enough. The deputy, Bob again, showed up, and since he already knew the situation, their claims didn't get far. This time, I had Bob trespass them and escort them off my property. "They can wait for the tow truck on the public road," I said. "Also, Bob, I'd like to have their names, addresses, license numbers, and vehicle registration noted in your report for my lawsuit." "No problem, Doc." He took them to the public road, 3 trips, called a tow truck, which took 4 hours to arrive, $500 fee per vehicle to lower them. I got the cribbing back, and towed them off my property to the public road. They were still trespassed. About a month later, I received notice they were suing me. Fair enough. I counterclaimed them. In the local court, they were from Denver, which is a drive away. My lawyer laughed at their claims. So did the judge. And they were very unhappy when he ordered them to pay for resurfacing the road, again, plus storage and punitives. They threatened to appeal. My lawyer explained they were welcome to do so, but the appeal would still be in Montana, in the state Supreme Court. Montana doesn't have an intermediate appeal court, or an intermediate appellate court, in Helena. In likely 3 years before it's scheduled, plus legal fees on their end, and the odds of losing were pretty high. Plus, we'd be including more legal charges, plus charges for their camping on my land, damages, etc. I found at least one campsite where they left trash around, including an envelope with their name on it. It took a year, but I got the payment from the third hiker last week. I decided that the money will go to help pay for my annual summer barbecue for the county's emergency responders. 2 days of smoked brisket and the trimmings, games for the kids, swimming in my pool or my stream, and whatever. I do this every year since it's a small town. Small town living, so much better than the big city I originally came from. I mean, that's great. I wouldn't call it petty. Like, you literally, they blocked your access to your own home and then pretended to be stupid, or really were stupid. Who knows? That's possible. But I mean, you handled it within your legal rights to do so, and made a bunch of money in the process and got everything fixed. So it worked out like it should have, and I'm very happy that it did. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/ProRevenge. Harass my daughter on Minecraft? You can't hide from me. So my daughter, who was about 8 at the time, was really into Minecraft, as most kids are these days, and desperately wanting to join the YouTube Let's Play culture. I had installed some screen recording software that would let her make videos of the game she was playing so she could later upload them to YouTube. Anyways, one day I'm minding my own business when I hear her quietly sniffling over on the computer. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't want to tell me, so I let it go, but decided to keep an eye on her. A few minutes later, I discovered what was happening. Someone was harassing not only her, but also all the other kids playing on whatever server she was on. This kid, we'll call him Little Shithead, or LS, was saying shit about how he was going to rape my 8-year-old daughter. She told him how old she was, hoping he would stop. How he was going to hack into her IP and steal all her info. Swearing profusely, remember, this is a game for kids, etc., etc. By the time I had gotten my fiancé involved, and she was also obviously quite upset at what a little shit this kid was being, we realized that our daughter had been recording the entire incident and had a plan began to form. I started by Googling LS username. There were several hits immediately, the most interesting of which involved a page where he was publicly applying to be a mod for a server on Minecraft. I was able to learn a lot about this little POS. He claimed to be 15, likes hockey, used to live in Toronto but now lives in Florida. But the bombshell was easily his Skype contact info. It was literally his first name dot last name. I know your name now, you little shit. So I head over to Facebook and search for the name. Nothing. On a hunch, I searched for just the last name while narrowing my results to only the state of Florida. Several dozen hits. So I have to start combing through each one until I find what I was looking for. A middle-aged man with the same last name, whose profile indicates he was born in Toronto and now lives in Florida. I found your dad, you little shit. So I sent him a message on Facebook, asking if he had a son named First Name who goes by his username on Minecraft. Dad confirmed I had the right guy. So my wife begins telling the dad everything that LS was saying to my daughter, and we sent him the recorded video as proof. Radio silence for a few days. Then we got the message back. LS had his computer taken away from him for the entire summer, and had also been lying about his age. He was only 11, I think. His parents were effing livid with him, and he surely hated the next few months of his life. No one F's with my daughter. Edit spelling. Edit 2, holy shit, someone gave me gold for this. Thanks. This has to be the first post I've made that's blown up on me. Thanks, everyone. Edit 3, whoa, front page on my all tab. Maybe I'm too new to Reddit and that's not a big deal, but it's still super cool. Also, I'd like to point out that while I understand that Minecraft isn't just for kids, there are some serious hardcore Minecrafters out there, I can tell you that probably the biggest demographic is on the younger side. I know that people of all ages play all games, but I feel like Minecraft is one that people can reasonably expect to be rather civil. I love your sleuthing skills here. Like, the fact that you didn't give up, the fact that you saw so many results and just started narrowing it down. I don't think it was luck that you found his dad. I think karma was working with you. And I mean, you just told the dad the truth and he took care of it. So I'm really proud of you guys for immediately sticking up for your daughter and trying to handle the situation, and also for this other kid's parents for handling the situation and not just being like, oh, my kid does no wrong. This worked out great. Story number 6 is coming to us from r/ProRevenge. My hag of a stepmom gave away my PlayStation 4 while I was away in college, so I rent out her house while she was on her honeymoon with her newest husband. I have been reading lots of Reddit lately, especially entitled parents, but made a new account when I came across this page. I never thought I'd actually try to contribute something. Until now, Reddit has just been my guilty morning coffee read. So here goes. I'm an only son. My mom died of ovarian cancer at only 55, 5 years ago. It broke my dad's heart. They had been together since college and were the same age, with my dad being a month older. I'm 22 and am about to graduate college with my degree in chemistry when the main events start to occur. I went to college on a full-ride scholarship. This is important later. My dad met my now stepmom when she was my mom's nurse at the hospital where she spent her final days. My stepmom, Grace, played all the right notes to gain my dad's trust. She was empathetic to him, nurturing, comforting after my mom passed. I was 17 and old enough to sense that she was just trying to weasel her way into getting my dad's resources. But it was up to my dad if he wanted to be in a relationship with her. I was in my final year of public school and had just won a scholarship to attend college out of the country the following year. My dad mourned my mom for a year, and that whole time Grace would check in on him by phone every month or so, in my opinion, to scope out the possibility of sinking her hooks into him. After a year passed, Grace took the gloves off and went hard after my dad. Grace was only 40 when she and my dad started seeing each other. I didn't like her, but at the same time, my dad at least didn't seem so depressed anymore, so I tried to be less pessimistic about her and give her the benefit of the doubt. In my gut, I didn't trust her though. But we are Scandinavian, and at least in my family, the son does not tell his father what to do or even offer any opinion. Grace is from the Czech Republic, if you're wondering. My father was a very successful banker during his career and amassed quite a portfolio of wealth. I'll spare you the details, but after 6 months of dating, Grace and my father are married. My dad never really got over my mom, though, and he was getting weaker and weaker even though he was only 57. Since his health was fading, he called me to him and asked me point blank, "Boy, what do you need to set you up in this life?" I told him I don't need anything. I'm a man and can take care of myself. But what are you even talking about, Dad? You're going to be around for decades yet. I did remind him that he had living sisters with children, my aunts and cousins. I also reminded him that I had a full scholarship to college, so don't worry about giving me any cash. He was dead only a year later at 59. I, of course, have seen lots of Hollywood movies, so I consider the conspiracy theory that maybe my dad's nurse wife poisoned him and made him sign over all his money to her, but I really honestly do not think that's what happened. Other relatives didn't like Grace either, but they knew my dad was totally in love with my mom and that her death utterly broke him. Well, long story short, my dad bequeathed his 5-bedroom house to me, even though I wasn't expecting it and didn't ask for it. He gave a small endowment to each of his sisters and their children. He left about 80% of all his existing money to Grace, which amounted to several hundreds of thousands of dollars. My dad ignored me because he's generous to a fault and still gave me several tens of thousands of dollars, which were, of course, very useful to me. Grace tried to put on a friendly front, but I could tell she was angry as hell that she didn't get my dad's house too. That belonged to me, and I had the legal papers to prove it. She was especially mad because we live in an extremely upscale and trendy location, and houses are hard to come by and easily sold for massive profit. During the first few months after my dad's death, I had the nauseating, creepy experience of knowing that Grace was trying to feel me out to see if I might be into a little relationship with her. Gross. She still stayed at the house though, because over the last 3 years she had gotten used to living there and acting like she owned it. And even though I officially owned it, I was always away at college and only visited my dad's old house once every couple of months. And even then, it wasn't to see Grace, but to see my cousins who lived just a few miles away. I downplayed the fact that it was really my house, and over the months I think Grace gradually forgot that she really had no legal right to the house. She probably believed that sooner or later, because I never asked her for any of the hundreds of thousands of my dad's dollars that she now had, that I was somehow independently wealthy and would just give up my house to her. I knew I'd eventually hydrogen bomb this bitch when she started dating some new guy only 5 months after my dad was in the ground. And one time when I came home from college after graduating, she and her new boyfriend, some sleazy-looking D-bag named Ivan, who was only a few years older than me, were acting like I was a guest in my own house and that they owned it. I played along. Grace told me she gave away my PlayStation 4 to Ivan's cousin because I'm too old to play with video games. I don't even know this mother effer, and you give him my PS4 to give away to some other shit who I also don't know? I quickly changed all my network passwords that same day. I smiled, but I knew what I had to do eventually. She also said that she and Ivan were getting married because I just can't mourn your father forever. I have to move on with my life. I tell her that I graduated college and already secured employment with a local firm and will soon find a new place to live. She looks thrilled, especially the part where it looks like I'll soon have a new place to live. Then, in a patronizing way, she tells me, "You always have a place in our house, though. You are welcome to stay whenever you please." Thanks, Grace. Really generous of you. What I really say is that I will probably have a new place in 3 months. She says that is wonderful because she intends to go to her homeland to have a wedding with Ivan and afterward have her honeymoon. She assures me it's a local affair, otherwise I'd invite you, honey. And anyway, I know you're so busy. I congratulate her. She asks me if I can watch the house for her. Watch my own house? Sure. What I really say is, of course I will take care of the house. I am careful to not say your house. She and her D-bag fiance, who I am 100% sure is only there for Grace's money, go on their trip and I immediately put out advertisements in rental websites offering to lease my house. I hire movers and have all of Grace's furniture possessions boxed up and put into a storage rental facility. I retain all of my parents' furniture that they had before my dad met Grace. Locks? Changed. All of them. Within days, I am inundated with dozens of inquiries regarding my amazing furnished house with fantastic views. I rent it to a wonderful young family, a barrister and his schoolteacher wife, and their 2 preteen children. They pay me their first and last month's rent and sign a lease for a year. I warn them about my crazy stepmom who thinks this is her house, but I present them with contact information to my lawyer, the same lawyer my dad retained, in case they need any assurance that I'm on the level. I also give my lawyer the information about the storage facility, including the fact that I generously paid 4 months of storage in advance, which is a whole month longer than Grace's Czech honeymoon adventure. I then found a great apartment in the city near my new place of work. There, I met a woman in a restaurant I frequent at night after a long work day. We have been dating 6 months now and are engaged to be married. Grace, of course, tried to shriek and cause trouble when she realized she got kicked out of my house, but my lawyer quickly shut her mouth without my having to ever speak to her garbage face again. From what I hear, her and her trash husband left the country, and I assume they're blowing through my dad's money and will soon be broke like the Shavs usually become when they taste a little bit of what they think is the good life. So maybe Grace will go and try to exploit some other lonely man into giving her his money. Speaking of money, the house that I rent out is generating so much money that I not only am able to help pay for my cousin's college, but I moved into a larger apartment of my own, together with my fiance. I love my job, but really, I could survive solely on renting my dad's old house. And to think, if Grace had only been cooler and nicer, I might have let her stay at the house, just to be a good sport. And definitely if she stayed the hell out of my room. But no, she had to act all proprietary, so I had to make her homeless as a wedding gift. Postscript. I bought another PS4, even though I didn't even use my old one that much. It didn't matter. It wasn't for Grace to give away. You don't give away other people's things. You give away your own things. Which is why I chose to kick Grace out of my house, because it's mine, and I decide who stays there. This was good. This was a long one, but this was a good one. Because you had all the legal rights to do everything you did, and you still ended up being a good guy in the end. You got your revenge, plenty, but you still ended up being a good guy because you didn't just get rid of her stuff. You didn't give it away because it wasn't yours. You stored it and even covered the cost of storage for an extra month when you knew she was rolling in dough. So I love this one. It's just great. All right, that is 6 stories for episode 6 of Petty Please, and that is us done for the day. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review to help the channel grow. Share the episode with a friend if you liked it. If you are watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below with what you thought of these revenge stories. Like the video, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend to help the channel grow. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.